So I'm just chilling, and Kitty has decided my boob is a perfect place to take a nap. Is it comfy? She's so goddamn cute. Hello, 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 everybody. Hello. Hi. Greetings. Hello. I've got a very sleepy kitty by my side, and I'm like a few minutes late. But I was like in the middle of like drawing, working on a drawing, and my brain lost track of time. It was like, you have 5 minutes. I'm like, I can finish this. And then it was like, no, I don't. Oh god, I haven't even set up my streaming thing. Ah! So anyways, here's my streaming window. You can see the drawing I was working on. Yes, I am working on a redraw because I'm shit at perspective and I'm trying to slowly improve. And also my hair is super floofy because I'm going to say something slightly gross. But I was working 7:30 to 5 for the past 4 days in a row. I showered on Monday. Then I didn't shower until this morning. Because that's slightly gross. But at the same time, I was going home around 5 and I was eating dinner. I was basically like ready to go to bed again. I don't know about you, but when you have to enter, like, start working at 7:30 in the fucking morning every day, which is gonna be my job, so I'll get used to it eventually, but I'm still not used to it, so I'm still like, ugh. Just very tired. Just very, very tired. Also, just lately has been stressful, yay! Like on Sunday and Monday, for the first time in about a year, I suffered an asthma attack. If you don't know about asthma, well, boy, howdy, let me tell you. I have been asthmatic my entire life. Basically, they said I grew out of it when I was a kid. I never did. I didn't. They said I did. I didn't. I never grew out of it. They were basically just like, well, you should have grown out of it, and then I just never fucking did, but they stopped diagnosing me with it, and I was off meds for a lot of years. I got put on puffers again when I was, oh god, how old was I? What age was I? I was like, 15? 15 to 14? It was literally because I was being sent to the hospital almost like fucking every day. Like, I'm not joking. Like, I was in the hospital so fucking much. Like, so fucking much. I was in the hospital. I was like, there was two of us that were basically being sent to the hospital all the time, and it was me and another girl. And basically, she was going to the hospital because she had developed Crohn's, and it was taking a while for them to diagnose it. So about every day, a little bit after lunch, her Crohn's would add up really bad. She'd be in the hospital. She's about a year younger than me. And then there was me, the asthmatic, who went to a rural high school when Axe was reaching its peak. And as someone who was asthmatic and also was very, very sensitive to smells, that triggered me like nobody's fucking business. Also, I took mandatory gym for till like 10th grade, and 10 years, yeah. And one of my key triggers for my asthma is actually working out, like exercise. Like okay, I'll tell you this. When I was like elementary school years, like grade 1s to 7, especially like the earlier years, we used to do this thing where we'd walk around the perimeter of my rural country school, like less than 100 kids, small ass school. It was about a kilometer, the radius of it and the like rec center that shared like a space with, and we would walk around that as an exercise. Everyone would be done, and I'd be wheezing trying to finish it. I couldn't as a kid. Like, I would get there and I'd be done, and I would be coughing. I would be barely breathing. It was not good. Like, I couldn't do it, and like all my classmates, like except for like a few of my friends, like everyone teased me about it. They're like, "How are you so fucking weak?" And I'm like, "I can't fucking breathe." So, like, I did that for years. And exercise is a big trigger for me. Big trigger. Another one's allergies, because I'm allergic to basically everything outside. I'm technically allergic to my cat. Like, let me get this, make you understand. I'm allergic to feathers, so I can't wear anything down. I can't have down pillows. Because I am allergic to feathers. Like, very allergic to feathers. I'm allergic to cat hair. I'm allergic to dog hair. I'm allergic to pollen. I'm allergic to mold. I'm allergic to dust. I'm technically allergic to chocolate. But yeah, like, I'm allergic to a lot of shit. And, like, for about, I want to say over a year now, I haven't been taking my puffers because, another thing, anyone who's like, Canada's so much better in America, which we, like, for healthcare. Which, in a way, we kind of are, but also kind of not. Like, we don't have to pay for hospitals and shit like that, but two things that we have to pay a fuck ton for that is almost the exact same as America. Medications and ambulances. An ambulance ride in Canada costs about a minimum of almost $200. My puffers that I need to take technically every day, sometimes up to four times, which is 2 puffs, costs $140 fucking dollars. I had to pay $140 today to get my med refilled because I had not gotten these puffers refilled in so long, because I was basically riding out, going like days, weeks, months without using my puffer, which fucked my lungs. Definitely wasn't good for me. I definitely got sick a lot. I definitely wasn't feeling my 100% best. But I stopped fucking taking them because I couldn't afford to fucking fill them. And like, when I said it today, and I got after my asthma attack, my mom's like, alright, you need to go back on your puffers. I will fucking pay for them. Get back on your puffers. And I'm like, Mom, I don't want you paying for my shit. And she's like, well, are you going to take your puffers if I don't pay for it? And I'm like, good point. So currently I have a drug plan that I'm on, which covers a lot of my shit, but it won't cover this. So I'm like hoping that when they send a note to them from my doctor that's like, yeah, she's been on this puffer for like 10 years and she kind of needs it, that they'll do it. If not, I'm going to have to see if there's another puffer I can possibly go on. And let me tell you, when I was like 15, 16 and they were re-diagnosing me with this shit, they put me on just about every fucking puffer you can think of. And this was the one they stuck on. And it's the one I've been getting for 10 years now. And over these 10 years, I swear, after high school, like after I got off my parents' drug plans, after I got off my parents' drug plans, after I stopped going to university, my university stopped paying for them, I really just stopped taking these puffers. And it's literally because they are the most fucking expensive things. Like, I'd have to get this refilled probably twice a month. Like, it'd be like near the end of the month. But like, yeah, I had to get these things filled a lot. Especially when I take them at full dose, which is what I'm doing currently, because my lungs are weak. Because basically for 2 days, like, first day I had an asthma attack, and basically I was winded the entire day. Next day I woke up, I was still fucking winded. I literally woke up, had another asthma attack, and was basically just so fucking winded that I called into work 2 days. First day I was like literally on the walk to work. And one thing about asthmatics, which a lot of asthmatics don't share, I've seen some videos, like lately I was watching who was it? It's one of the Storytime animators on YouTube. And yeah, she was talking about how she had asthma. She has asthma. And I'm like, yeah. And one thing they don't really talk about with asthma is that asthmatics have a common thing, at least the asthmatics I know anyways. Especially me, I have this really bad. Which is, I can choke on air. I'm not fucking joking. I can choke on air, which will send me into a coughing fit. And when I have coughing fits, most often than not, that sends me into an asthma attack. And then also having PTSD and all that fun jazz anxiety shit. That basically means that my asthma gets really, really, really bad because, symptoms of asthma attacks are shortness of breath, tightness in the chest. Yeah, that's not helping when my lung airways are compressed. Not really the best. So yeah, that would be a fucking thing that I used to deal with. And like, I just got on my puffers today. I bought it. I was literally, the guy at the pharmacy is like, I didn't even bother putting like the sticker on the puffer because I wasn't even sure if you were gonna buy it. I'm like, I really don't have a choice. Like, I can't go without this, especially now that I work a job where a lot of my job is like, I do a lot of movement, I do a lot of exercise. I'm sorry, my cat's like attacking me. So, Jesus, kitty, your toy's not ready. Can you just like go to the window? Can you like not hide underneath Mama's desk? Hi, hello. You're gonna sit up here with Mommy and talk. So, anyways, yeah. Oh no, she's like, no, mother, free me. Onto the bed. But yeah, like, oh, I've had asthma for so many years. Kitty, hi. What do you want? What do you want, kitty? Mama's having a rant. Mama's ranting and raving. Boop. 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 Alright, I'm gonna pull up the actual drawing I was working on today. Which is this boy. Which I did a good little sketch up over earlier, so yay. Alright, save as. Let's go into my TF file. TFP Youngling. I suppose to tweet that I'm live right now. Fuck it, I ain't doing it. But yeah, continue on with my asthma rant, but this time I'm actually gonna attempt to draw as well. But like, yeah, it was shitty. It was very, very not fun. And like, like when my asthma gets out of control, like it also triggers my PTSD, because lo and behold, my fucking piece of shit dad. If you don't know, like, he's the reason I have PTSD. He fucked me up as a kid. But one of his things, especially when I was a teenager, when I was going to the hospital a lot, when I was getting ambulances called to the school almost daily, he would literally sit there and be like, she doesn't have asthma. I don't know what the fuck you're on about. She doesn't. She's fine. She's not sick. And that was a big fucking deal. Like, he used to literally take my emergency puffers away from me. Like, but that was very much like, you have to do physical labor kind of deal. Like, when I was a kid, I used to have to help pack wood. Fair enough. Wood for the house. Not the biggest of deals. It is when your daughter's allergic to dust and mold and you're putting it in a fucking mud basement. And you're making her do, number one, physical activities, which also triggers her asthma. And he used to literally take it from me. Like, I remember this vividly. Being, like, barely able to breathe. And him snatching my puffer away from me. Making me fucking sit down. And screaming at me until I got it under control. That was a thing. And I never fucking got it. I never got it. But, like, it was fun. So now I'm just kind of dealing with shit like that. I'm just like, yeah, I feel like shit. My lungs hurt. It's hard to breathe. I'm out of breath. I'm so fucking tired when I get home from work. Like, for a while there, it actually caused my personality to kind of shift at work, which I felt really bad for. Like, if you don't know, I got a promotion and, like, kind of manager. And I'm still training, so I'm not like, not, can't say 100% like I know everything. But there are definitely some things I'm learning or that I'm being told by other managers that they want me to crack down on, which I'm working on. But one day, I just like, for a while there, I was just fucking snapping. Because I was just, things were not being done the way where they wanted me to get it done. And I had such high expectations because I'm like, I barely been working here. I've been promoted. I have to show them that that promotion was worth it. So I was getting a snippy temper. I wasn't I wasn't breathing right. My PTSD and all that shit has been acting up. It's been great. And then I fucking basically, like, one day he was one of my employees, which I know some people will might say like, oh no, like if I'm manager, I don't want people questioning me. But I understand why. And like one of my employees, he's a nice guy, like really nice, good to work for, very kind. But like his biggest thing is that he has to know why for everything. So anytime I'm just like, can you not do this? He's asking like why, especially if it's different from the way they've been doing it. And for the most part, like I was trying to be good and trying to answer it, be like, yeah, this is why we're doing it. Like, I know it's different, but like this is why. Yeah, like this week I just fucking snapped and said, "Cause I'm the manager." Like I'm the manager. Just do as I fucking say, kind of deal. And I don't want to be that manager, but I was that manager for like a day because I was just I was not doing well. And I don't like taking my shit, like my fucking issues out on other people, so I felt really bad about it. And like one of the other managers, I was just like, why don't they listen to me? And he's like, well, you kind of been having a bit of an attitude issue, and I was gonna talk to you about it. And I'm like, oh, shit. So I was like, oh, I didn't notice. Okay, sorry, I'll try to improve. And then like me and the guy made up, and he's just like, we're cool. And I'm like, yep, we're cool. Sorry about that. And like all that great stuff. But like, it's been fucking rough. As I said, yeah, like I'm in a manager position thing, and like basically the manager for before me just kind of let things kind of go. So I'm doing a lot of damage control, and like they have like all of them have very high expectations for me, and I'm trying to meet them, but also like for until like this week actually, I was basically doing manager stuff and getting trained in my department, but also still covering other departments where they were trying to get more people hired. So yeah, it was fun. It was great. It was fantastic. I felt great. But yeah, now I'm like trying to settle down a bit more and be like, okay, that was bad. That was a rough time, but we can't take it out on other people. Like, I'm very much of the philosophy, like, your life is shit, I understand that, but don't take it out on other people. And, sometimes the fucking philosophy is hard to live by. But, like, yeah. And, yeah, there's been other shit that's just been kind of going off in my life. Like, I'm currently moving, and when I finally gave my notice for moving, which was I want to say 3/4 of a month, I was like, yeah, I'm moving out in September. And they're like, you have to pay September's rent. And I'm like, what do you mean? And they said, well, you have to tell us before the first of every month. And I'm like, if you're moving out. And I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, well, on your lease that we made you sign and basically said if you don't sign it, we're going to kick you out, said you have to give us 3 months notice. And I'm like, yeah, it's still this month. And they're like, no, you have to tell us by the first. And I was like, are you telling me I won't be fucking living here? I'll be gone. I still have to pay a full fucking month's rent, even including my fucking pet deposit when there won't be a fucking pet in here. And they're like, yep. And I'm like, well, fuck you. Fuck you. I'm going to keep my key. I'm going to give it back to them. And literally, like, the day I handed my key, I'm going to be like, this place was the fucking worst. The owner, like, the fucking, yeah, I'm going to say it. The owner that rents the apartments, he's a fucking asshole. He's a creep. He says things that offend women. He's just generally off-putting. He doesn't do shit. He doesn't fix shit. The only thing he's ever fixed in my apartment is my leaky fucking toilet. He didn't fix my leaky shower. He's been known about that for 5 months. He still hasn't fucking fixed it. And he's never going to. He also does all the renovations pretty much himself. And, yeah, he's like a rich white boy. Like, I don't know about you, but my family, like, my fucking asshole dad was a carpenter. He was a fucking good one. He could build fucking houses. He could do electricity. He was fucking good at his job. This motherfucker don't know what he's doing. He put in the shittiest of flooring. Like, I'm not kidding. This flooring, like, my bed, old bed frame. I got a new one recently, not that long ago. But my old bed frame, which was like a standard metal frame bed frame with wide feet, sunk an inch. I used to have a microwave stand that I brought in from my old apartment. I got rid of it since then because I got something like taller so I could fit more stuff. But it sunk an inch. Even this, like, you know those plastic durable multi-layer things that like people put in garages? Yeah, I have 2 of those. And the one out here has also sunk. I want to say about half an inch. Everything in this apartment sinks an inch. Like, anything with any fucking amount of weight sinks. So that when you try to move it, you can rip up the flooring. I've ripped the flooring twice. Also, they were like, well, you have a rolly chair. You need to protect the flooring from the rolly chair. And I'm like, the fuck are you on about? I've had rolly chairs. In every house I've ever lived in. I've never fucking damaged the floor. It's your fucking floor's fault. It ain't my fault. This floor is a piece of shit. If my floor is being dented by rolly chairs, something's fucking wrong with the floor. Yeah, and like, this place is like stupidly expensive to heat. Like, in summer, I have an air conditioner going on, air conditioner that's pretty much on 24 fucking 7. Like, this thing is never fucking off. And I am not fucking joking you when I say that my electricity, which has my heat included, goes up $100 in winter. And I don't know about you, but I don't turn on my lights that often. Like, I turn on my lights when I stream or when it's really overcast. And if you don't know anything about Canadian winter, it's that it's not really that overcast all the fucking time. It's actually pretty bright. Because snow plus sun equals fucking bright. And like, also, like, I have a lot of electronics. I use them about the same in summer and winter. My bill goes over $100, and I have an air conditioner that's plugged in all the time during summer. It's always running. It's old. It's like a few fucking years old. And they still get mad at me. Like, my place should not cost this much to heat. I live in a box. It should be fucking cheap to heat. It's just, my landlord's a dick. So, like, I'm in the middle of, like, getting that stuff and sorting out moving. Like, I have one of my old coworkers, her partner does moving, like, as his job. And I'm basically like, I'm just gonna fucking hire him. I can't move myself. Like, number 1, I'd have to get a truck. Number 2, my family all lives in a different province. Number 3, a lot of my friends have bad backs. So I'm like, I'm just gonna fucking hire a moving company. And she just happened to, her partner works there, and I'm like, yeah, cool. I'll hire them. They'll help me move my shit. I'll help. But like, so fucking, my life has been a little bit stressful lately. Cause like, yeah, it's been fun. Dealing with a lot of changes. And, like, the job I work at, which is great, like, my employer is awesome. But it is, like, hard job. Because this is very much a job where, besides your breaks, which they are good about giving you a decent amount of breaks and making sure you get your breaks, but you're fucking always going. Like, there is non-stop. There is no days where I'm just like standing there doing nothing, except for when I was on cash. And even then, like it was maybe an hour where we'd have that. Most of the time, not at all. But it's one of those jobs where like you're constantly doing something. Like especially in my current position, like at my old job I used to get 10,000 steps, but half of that I think was me chopping vegetables. This, oh fucking no. I get about 15,000 steps a day when I work in the department I'm currently working in. And like that's a fuckload of steps. And like it's it's fast paced and it's grinding and it's exhausting and I come home and I'm very tired and I don't want to do shit. But at the same time I get paid well and they're very nice. Like I'm not at all trying to diss my job. I just am admitting the fact that it is hard work. And like literally all the other people I work with say that. They're like, it's good. It's a good job. It's hard work. And the tangents today. Yeah, my asthma was a piece of shit today. This like last couple weeks. And fuck, I hate how much my medication costs. I hate it. I really hope the drug plan I pay for will start fucking covering my medication that I need. Cause like, I don't know about you, but breathing is fucking essential. Also, like, I had my boss. He's like, he did the joke, which everyone makes. I don't know if you're an asthmatic, but people make this joke all the fucking time. It's one of those jokes where it's like, it's the same as when you're a cashier and it doesn't scan and they go, huh, it must be free. That kind of thing. It's, well, breathing's not important. I'm like, yeah, when you're an asthmatic, it's just kind of a privilege. I've just been stressed lately. My entire life. my my whole everything has just been dealing with stress. And it's not fun. Like, fuck. Oh, God. I wish I didn't have a stress disorder. Oh, God. And like Father's Day, like one of my coworkers, who's a very nice guy, he was like, so you're gonna call your father today? And I said, nope. And he's like, well, that's kind of sad. And I was just like, my dad's a fucking asshole and he is dead to me. I'm dead to him too, so I ain't that offended. But like, it's not fun. And it's one of those things where, like, at sometimes I don't mind talking about him. Like, there are some days where I'll mention shit like, oh yeah, I'm a fisherman's daughter. That's why I'm so strong. Like, because considering how little activity I do, I'm remarkably like I can pick up a lot of fucking weight. Like, I can deadlift shit. And like, I have no reason to be able to deadlift shit. But I can. And my excuse is I'm a fisherman's daughter. And like, there's other things where I'm just like, yeah, this is basically just symptoms of things that I've been forced to do all of my life. And yeah. And like, it's one of those things where like, especially like people who have like abusers that are like parents, there are certain things where you're just like, yeah, I remember that slightly fondly. Like, I still like one thing he used to say to me, which was Happy Wednesday, boo. Which was just kind of like a family joke thing. Like, he'd say that every fucking Wednesday. And like, I still like that phrase. But I fucking hate him. It's a hard kind of fucking wall where you're just like, I hate this fucking person. I hate basically everything they're about. But there's like a few things I remember fondly. Like, I remember watching the Star Trek show with Data. And I remember liking Data. And that's like something I remember fondly from my youth. But like, it's on that slippery slope of just like, I hate him. and then there's like something I remember fondly, and I'll say it without really thinking about it, and then like afterwards, when people are like, "Oh, you're gonna talk to your father," because I talk about him, and they assume like, "Oh, that must mean like you have a good relationship," and I'm like, "Oh fuck no, I haven't seen him in 5 years, and I don't plan to see him ever again." Like, bitch, I don't want to be at his funeral. You think I give a shit? But like, yeah, it's one of those things where I understand people will not understand this. But yeah, it's fucking great. It's fucking great, you know. Yeah, I'm trying to like figure some more shit out in my life. Like now that I have like this manager position, I basically decided I'm like, okay, well I guess I'm gonna put off college for another year. But then adds me to the stress of like, oh god, I'm gonna have to start paying student loans. And then my mother is very insistent, which some way I like it because the transit system in my city fucking sucks. But like, my mom's like basically gonna bring me a car. And one of my things that I absolutely hate. But my mother is one of those people that doesn't care and basically just wants to help her kids. Like, my mom gives me and my siblings way more fucking money than we need as adults. But she's that kind of person where she wants to help out her kids. Which, especially me and my other sister, the youngest of us, we deal with a lot of shit. So at the same time, I kind of understand it. But another way, I feel bad when I take her money. Like, she gave me money for my puffer today, which I appreciate because that's $140. It's not something that is easy to lose. At the same time, I feel bad because I'm thinking I am 25 fucking years old and I'm still taking money from my mother. What the fuck is wrong with my life? I don't know. It's one of those things where I'm just like, fuck. And like, yeah, there's other shit too, but like, this is just the major shit that I'm just slowly realizing in my life where I'm just like, fuck my life. Like, I have to deal with this shit. And like, there's other shit too. Well, like, I think the biggest issue right now is like, there's a lot going on in the world, especially in like my little world. Like, if you don't know, I'm from Canada, and yeah, I've never been more fucking ashamed to be a Canadian in my fucking life. Like, things that are going on in my country right now are not cool. I don't like it. I think it's bullshit. I think people should be, like, fucking honest with what the fuck happened in the formation of our country. I think the fucking church should be fucking held responsible for the bullshit that they did. I believe the Canadian government should be held responsible for the bullshit that they did. I think they should be responsible for the systemic racism. I think they should be responsible for making sure that indigenous communities get fresh water and all that bullshit. But I do not have the mental spoons to deal with it. Like, as much as I am very much like, if I see this shit like online, I'll fucking retweet it like easy. Like, I've seen a few of the posts about it on Tumblr, and I'm like, yep, shared. And then Facebook, I'm like, yep, share, like. But that's all the mental energy I have. Like, it's hard when you have mental health issues. And, like, as much as I do want to be an advocate, as much as, yes, I do want to scream out and, like, do all this shit, I also realize that I have a limited number of things that I can really be invested in before my mental health decides to go, you know what, fuck you, and dies. So, like, there's limits. And, like, lately I think I've reached one of them. And it's like the worst time to reach it, and I'm just exhausted and can't deal with this shit. And like, it's not fun. basically, I'm just at that point where I'm just like, you know what? I'm fucking tired. I don't have mental energy for anything right now. Like, I haven't done shit in weeks. Like, this is the first stream I've done, and I love streaming. I fucking love streaming. I have not had the mental energy to stream, and that is bad. I've had not had the mental energy to do shit in so long. And I feel gross, and I don't like it. And then it's something I have to deal with, because fucking life. Yeah, it's a thing. It's a thing. But yeah, I'm like trying to get myself back in a groove, because like for this like past week, like I've been fairly decently making sure like to take care of myself in certain ways. Like one thing I picked up in the last like few months has been like washing like my face every day and taking time like to moisturize, taking time to like just wash my face every morning and every night, put on moisturizer, do that kind of shit, which is good. Because another thing that comes with asthma is eczema. And I just have shit skin, and I need to take care of it. But like, I've been so mentally exhausted that I'm doing it at night, for the most part. But in the morning, I'm not doing it. I'm too tired. And now I'm trying to force myself to get back into doing it because, well, number one, it makes me feel better. It helps me wake up. It's a good thing to do. And I just need to start taking care of myself. But I haven't been. And that's bad. Like, I'm at that point where I'm like, I know what I'm doing is not healthy for myself. Like, I need to take care of myself. I need to take the time. And then I'm just not. And it's not good. But yeah. I've been trying to improve myself lately. Trying to remember that I need to take care of myself. That is a very hard thing to do. And I'm like, ugh, I just haven't been feeling my best. And basically because I got this new position and because like as far as I'm concerned, I have eyes on me at the moment. Where it's just like, I can't fuck up. They just promoted me. I have to do good. It's not a good place to live inside my brain, okay? Like, a lot of my shit is like, I am very bad, and I used to be way worse at this, but I've gotten better over the years, is that when it comes to, like, my job, like, I'm a hard worker. Not because, like, any sort of, like, general love for my works or anything. No, it's entirely trauma-based. It's entirely trauma-based why I am such a hard worker. Because if I wasn't when I was a kid, it would not fucking end well for me. And basically, I've had my arse kicked into basically becoming a good hard worker because, well, if I wasn't, it was not going to end well for me. And, like, now I'm in that space where, like, I still haven't gotten the idea of, like, where I should put my limits for a job. Like, I've slowly been building them over the, like, last couple years. But, like, recently, as soon as my mental health starts to take a dive, which it has been lately, yeah, all that progress gets thrown out the fucking window. And I am back at that stage of if I fail, they're gonna fire. Like, if I slow down even a bit, they're gonna fire me. No one's gonna like me. I'm never gonna get a job again. I'm gonna go poor. I'm gonna have to move back home. I'm gonna hate having to move back home. I'm not gonna feel good. I'm not gonna get there. And go down this very bad spiral in my brain. Welcome to trauma. It's fucked. I hate it. And like as much as I want to talk to people about it, I don't have a lot of people I can talk to about it because, like, one of my best friends, she's native. She's dealing with a lot of shit right now. ah. And like one of our deals as friends, like that we've come up with for the years, is that we don't try to put each other's past on each other. Like I don't go up to her and sit there and sob story because I know she's been through shit and I've been through shit. So basically, we're just like we hang out, we do that good stuff. We try not to put this shit on each other, which is great. It's good for our friendship. It's why we've lasted as friends for so long. But sometimes I'm just like, I just want that friend where I can sit down and be like, ah! And I don't have that. And that is slightly sad. But yeah, it's been fucking hell. And like, I think like a big thing with me is like, another thing, like besides the whole bad house thing, I was also like bullied for years. So like one of the big things I was bullied for was that I was a fucking crybaby. And to be fair, I don't fucking blame young me for being a crybaby, because I was dealing with a lot of shit. I was getting bullied from like basically the time I entered school, and like my teachers did nothing about my bullying for years. And basically like one of the only good things I can say about my dad was basically my dad basically get it, and like I mean this like good in a way from it's not really good, but basically I got a free pass to be violent in school when I was younger because basically I got fatherly approval to do so. So anytime I get in trouble for beating the shit out of my bully, basically, they'd bring in my dad, and he'd be like, yeah, I fucking told her to. And there's not much a teacher can do after that point. After a parent looks you dead in the face and goes, yeah, I told her to do it, there's not much that teacher can really do. That teacher is left in a place where they're just like, well, fuck it, I guess we gotta let it go. And they did. Which wasn't good. And definitely has not helped me in some ways. Like, I'm non-violent. Like, after at first, like, a little bit of high school, like, I have not beat the shit out of anyone since I was a kid. But, my first, like, I still had this instinct. I never hurt anyone. But, like, my best friend, she was scared one time, and I said, do you want a baseball bat? Because that is my first instinct. And, like, you're scared. Here's a weapon. It's not good, and I know it's not good, but that is my first reaction. And I stave it off. And I really do. But, like, that is my first response. And, like, I said this to my best friend, like, I say stupid shit. And, like, it was, like, she wanted to go to when there was still, well, in Canada, they were still doing a lot of the Black Lives Matter protests. And, when they were doing that, she wanted to go. But she was scared of the police because, well, it's not just Black Lives that matter to the police here in fucking Canada. So I was like, you want a baseball bat? She's like, not helping. I was like, good point. Like, it took me a second to register why that wouldn't be a good idea. Because in my head, I'm like, oh, my friend's scared. I have something you can bring with you. Will that help you feel less scared? And she's like, no. I'm like, alright. That was like my white privilege showing, but still. And also just my immediate instinct of, you don't feel safe here. Here you are. But like, I'm slowly trying to improve that. Slowly. Because it takes years to break shit. Especially habits like that. Like, to this day, I will still never understand why none of my teachers thought, maybe we should report this man. Because he is literally teaching his daughter that violence is the answer. I never understood that. And, like, one of my biggest things, like, I still don't understand to this day, is, like, I had a lot of obvious signs that shit was wrong with me. And I understand why my mom couldn't do anything. 'Cause basically, like, no one listened to her. But, like, my school had no fucking excuses. Like, I had a guidance counselor for years. And if you don't know, in small rural schools, we didn't have like a guidance counselor room. There wasn't like a school nurse. There wasn't any of that shit. This lady specifically came for me and one other kid. And this one other kid got put in foster. I never got fucking put in foster. I was basically just like, they're just like, oh, yes, we are here. And I never understood it. And like in high school, it got worse. Like a lot of my teachers, like I'm small town, and like a lot of the reasons a lot of shit happened to me was because my dad was respected in that small town, and my mother really wasn't. So basically, anytime I basically went off against my dad for fucking shit he did, they assumed my mother put me up to it because she was angry because they got divorced. And I'm like, I don't think you understand. My mom doesn't like him. Like, this is not a spiteful wife that, like, oh, he left me. It's, fuck him. And, like, my mom was pretty fucking amicable compared to treating everything. Like, my mother still has his last name. Like, if she was really that spiteful ex, you think she would have his last name? Now she just has it because she's had it for, like, 15 years. Oh, now it's been, like, over 20 years since the divorce, and now it's just no one knows her by her maiden name anymore. So basically, she's just like, well, no one fucking knows me. A lot of my career is built up on my reputation. I'm gonna have to keep it now. I'm just gonna have to take the L and keep it. But like, you really think she wanted to keep that name? It was basically so that in our small, very like redneck style town where not many people got divorced, especially at the time my mom got divorced, and like it was basically so people knew that we were her kids. That was entirety of just dropping the confusion when she'd show up in this small rural area with her kids, and we would have different last names to her, and she just didn't want that. That's the entirety of the reason. That's the only reason. And like, to this day, like, I don't know. It's one of those things where I just never understood about my mother. Like, unless my mother gets married again, which is very unlikely. Like, I doubt my mom's ever gonna get married again. Because she's been married, like, I want to say twice. Yeah, it's been twice. And, like, basically the woman that raised her was married 3 times. And, like, this is not oh, I divorced all my hundreds. It's this bitch outlived all 3. Like, this woman was 98, I want to say, when she died. She was in a manor. She was, like, being looked after. She was still looking for another husband. Like, we would go to take her for ice cream, and she'd be like, no, I'm looking for men. And her and another 98-year-old would be stalking down the men's hallway in the manor looking for husbands. So I think my mother is a little scared that would be her. And my mom grew up in the 60s. I was born in the 60s and grew up in the 80s. And she's probably like, I'm a strong, independent woman. I'm a strong, independent woman. I'm a strong, independent woman. I'm not going to be like the woman who practically raised me and have 3 husbands. I'm not going to be her. And that's why, to this day, I believe, like, my mom's been in some serious relationships. She will never fucking marry any of them. Like, she's currently in one where I want to tease her for this relentlessly, but I don't say anything because I know it kind of upsets her. Is that this guy has the same first name as my father. And I'm like, Mom, you fucked up with a man that had that name. At this point, fuck the name. It's not even like it's a common name like Dave or Steve or something like that that's like, there are 20 bajillion people. No, it's not that. It's not that common of a name. And she's dated 3 people. One of which she's married and divorced, and 2 other ones. When I was a young teenager, no, it was like a young kid, and they never got married, but they were like together for a while. And then the one she's currently dating, and I don't get it. I don't get it. Like, my best friend has a rule. She doesn't get involved with people named Matthew. You know why? She's had two or three bad relationships with people named Matthew. Now she's basically like, yeah, the name's cursed. And I'm like, that is the way to be, mother. What the fuck? Like, what the fuck, woman? Like, it hasn't happened 3 times, but one of them was bad enough to give you fucking good reason to hate that name. I don't get it. I tease her. I want to tease her so bad about it, but I know, like, in her brain, like, she literally asked me permission if she could date this guy, because she's like, he has the same name, and I'm like, Mom, you're 60. Date whoever the fuck you want. Like, please, for the love of God, date whoever the fuck you want. Don't let your young adult daughter tell you who the fuck to date. Like, Jesus Christ. But at the same time, I want to be like, so Mom, you got a thing for the name, or is it like, it's like some weird fetish? It's one of those things where I'm just like, Mother, I have questions. And I'm surprised my sister hasn't teased the fuck out of her for it. But I think my sister's just at that point where my sister and my mother, my eldest sister, I mean, her and my mother don't get along the best. They never have. So basically, my eldest sister is very jealous of the fact that, I'm going to say this for ways that my sister won't necessarily agree with, but I'm going to say it because it's fucking true. She blames my mom for shit that my mother couldn't help because she had us. And that is basically the way of it. Like, my sister gets so mad that my mom wasn't, like, always there for her, like, she is for us now. And, like, isn't, like, dropping off at the bat, like, always there for them, giving them money, or, she is also very upset that my mom didn't spend as much time with my nephew as possible. And, one of the things I think my sister doesn't really realize is that, my nephew was born when I was in 3rd grade. So, the fact that my mom wasn't involved in a lot of his younger years wasn't because my mother didn't care. It's because, number one, at the time my mom was dealing with the after effects of a divorce, getting a new job, starting a new career, and also having 2 kids that were still in elementary school. I don't think my sister understands that fully. Like, I love my sister. I don't think in her head that is something that really resonated with her entirely. Like, as much as it sucks and as much as I agree, yeah, Mom fucked up in a few places, I understand that. It's definitely not the degree my sister thinks it is. It's very much the side where I'm just like, sis, you do realize that at that point in time, especially when you're complaining about it, I was like 2. And she's like, well, it's not like my husband's parents, which his mother mostly was around a lot more. And I'm like, how old were all her kids? She was retired. Mom was working 2 jobs and had 2 kids and dealing with an ex-husband who was a piece of shit. Mom had other priorities. As much as it sucks, you're an adult. Hate to tell you this. Oh, it's one of those things where I just... a lot of places where I have to look at my family and go, is it really that important? Like, I hate to tell you this, but, like, other shit was going on. I've never said it to my sister's face. A little part of me wants to, but a little part of me also knows, like, as soon as I would, she would fucking go off. And I'm like, I do not want to have to deal with that. So basically, I've been like, alright, I'm just not gonna talk about it. I'm basically not gonna be that one who looks at my sister and goes, well, you know, sis, I'm kinda head of shit. You were technically an adult. Hate to tell you that. I don't know. It's one of those things where I'm just like, there's a lot of subjects with my family I just don't bother touching. Because my family gets all up and uppity, and I'm just like, I don't have the fucking mental space to deal with that. Like, one of the big ones right now is my family doesn't understand my other sister. Her transition, the fact that she doesn't do stuff. And I don't really get it entirely, but I want to be supportive. But the rest of my family is basically like, they're trying, but they're not really into it because they think it's just face. Which, I mean, considering my sister's past, I'm not really that surprised that they feel that way. But, yeah, it's just one of those things. And I basically have to, like, kind of look at my family and be like, is it worth the argument? It's not. A lot of shit isn't worth the argument. I know that's probably not, sounds very redeeming, but, One of the biggest things is, like, especially lately, like, I've been dealing with, like, a lot of shit where I'm just like, I'm at that age, well, I've been at that age for a while, but I'm basically at the stage of my recovery where basically, like, this shit happened, and I know it happened, and it sucks. But at the same time, I, like, still have moments where I'm like, why the fuck wasn't anything done? Like, there were so many fucking signs. Like, my mother had all the signs in the world, and as much as, like, I'm that kind of person that's like, well, Mom was dealing with a lot of shit at the time, and, like, no one was really listening to her anyway. So it's kind of fair. But at the same time, I'm like, Mom, you didn't really know what was going on, did you? Like, how did you not? It's kind of fucking obvious, but whatever. It's one of those things where I'm just like, I'm at that stage where I'm just like, I kind of want to get mad at people for shit. Like, kind of. At the same time, I know it's not going to get me anywhere. Like, one of the biggest things I love to do is I love to fucking sit down with child family services from my area and be like, alright, what the fuck? Like, I came to you guys screaming, crying many times. It wasn't like I was changing my complaints every time. Like, they were all general same complaints. And he just said, nope, don't need to investigate that shit. Like, what? You didn't think you had to investigate. You didn't think for a moment you should look into this. What the fuck? It's very much one of those things where, still as an adult, I'm definitely still, like, have some issues. Like, I would, it'd be a life goal of mine to sit down with, the people in my life that failed me as a child and be like, what the fuck? Just really sit them down and be like, I mean, the fucking signs were there. Like, none of you thought this was fucking strange. Like, none of you thought, maybe we should send someone to check this shit. Like, it was a known fact. Like, known fact in my area. That my dad didn't really look after us. Like, we were just kinda there. Like, there was multiple people my dad would let us that would babysit us. And it wasn't just like, hey, watch my kids, like, while I'm at work. It was, leave us there for days. I don't mean, like, one day. I mean, like, almost an entire week. He'd just leave us. Or he'd leave us there all day when he was supposed to pick us up at, say, like, 3. And to this day, I still don't understand why that wasn't a sign for anyone to go, you know, maybe we should check up on this man. Maybe ask why he's not looking after the kids that he gets every other week. Like, should that not be a thing? Maybe they'd be better off with their mother. I never got it. small town bullshit. That happens. It's not good. Yeah. I've been dealing with all this shit in my head lately, and I think mostly this stream is just me kind of ranting and raving about it because I haven't had much of a chance to do so, and these streams sometimes work as my fucking therapy. Like, mm. It's one of those things where, like, I've thought about it a lot when I was definitely not doing so well mentally. It's one of those things where, I know I shouldn't dwell on it, but at the same time, I kind of want people to know, like, this happened, and, like, yeah, maybe don't let this shit happen again, shit like this shouldn't happen. It shouldn't take until I'm basically 20, dealing with the fallout, for anyone to fucking notice. And, like, just so you know, like, my whole thing went to court. And basically the only reason my father was not put in jail and wasn't charged formally was because the fucking he couldn't prove in a court of law that you could have repressed traumatic memories. That is literally the only reason my case did not go through, was because of that one detail. Was that in a court of law, he couldn't prove that that was a thing. And the only reason he couldn't do it is because for some reason my fucking lawyers decided, hey, we don't need to bring in the psychologists that we have literally paid money for you to go to. Just saying. That could be definitely a thing. I don't know. Maybe if they brought one of them in. Maybe if they brought in anyone besides my family doctor as a kid. Whose biggest thing was, yeah, I treated her for this thing which she shouldn't have been getting so often. And now looks kind of suspicious, given what I know now. Yeah, there's a lot of fucking... I have issues. I have issues, and, like, especially when we're bringing up what's going on currently in the country. And, like, I'm seeing this shit, and I'm, like, relating a little too hard with it. Like, a little bit too much of me is like, yep, yeah, I know this. And I know exactly how it kept going on. Yep, entirely. Understood. But yeah. That's my kind of ramble for today, and oh my god, my throat's... Yeah, as I said, like, my asthma's been acting up. It's still acting up. And, like... It's fun. It's fun being me. But yeah. I wanted to do, like, a lighthearted stream. But, like, paying for my puffer was literally the tip over the edge of, yeah, this is gonna be a ranting stream. I'm gonna fucking rant. And, if you don't like ranting, I'm sorry. But, yeah, this is just gonna be me fucking ranting because shit is bullshit. It is fucking bullshit. And, like, I don't think this is the most entertaining fucking stream, and I apologize for that. But sometimes shit just needs to be told, and, yeah. Fucking bullshit is everywhere, man. But yeah. Like, lately I've been, like, busy and tired, and, it's one of those things where, like, a lot of my issues I can't tell people. Like, especially any of my jobs. Like, I can't really tell people, like, yeah, sorry I've been off. I have post-traumatic stress disorder, and that slowly fucks up my brain occasionally. And I'll come back Like, no one wants to hire that. It's just depressing. It'd be great if I didn't have to, I don't know, work to eat and live and have a house. But, that shit I have to do. Like, one of the things I always say is, like, technically, under the court, I could be deemed as disabled. But, if you know anything about disability, being on disability is not really a good way of living. Like, you can't do shit. Nor is it something that you can really put into your job. Like, unless it's a physical, like, hey, I'm in a wheelchair. And even then, like, there's so many places that can't hire you just because you have a certain type of disability, and that's fun, and that's great. And I always sit there trying to tell people that. But, like, yeah, you can't tell fucking people shit. Like, I learned that pretty early on. I learned, like, yeah, I can't tell people I'm disabled. It's not fun. Like, I don't want to say this, like, to dismiss anything for autistic people. But, like, in the same way a lot of autistic people don't tell their employers they're autistic, is the same reason a lot of people with PTSD can't tell their employers they have PTSD. Because it's the same generalized stigma. And it's not fun. And I fucking hate it. But at the same time, I want people to understand why certain things are a certain way. Like, I want to be able to tell people, yeah, I know, I've been off, I haven't been feeling well, I haven't been my best. There's a fucking reason for it. Like, that's another thing, like, I know, like, a lot of people, and I've heard this said a lot of places, but people say, as soon as you say but after an apology, you've just forfeited the apology. Which makes sense. I understand that. But as someone who's mentally traumatized, that was basically what I had to do to get out of shit. Like, I'd be blamed for bullshit, and basically I would have to go like, I'm sorry, but... And that would hopefully lessen the punishment. And that is not a thing. Apparently. Yeah, it's a good place. You know? You're in a good place mentally when you can be like, yeah, no, there's some shit. But yeah, it's definitely not fun to have, like, what I say, like, it's really hard to not be able to tell people, like, why I'm being a certain way, or why, like, when other people are like, oh yeah, I'm done at work and I can just go get tired, or like, why are you so tired? You didn't work that hard, kind of deal. And I have to tell people, well, you see, I have a certain mentally ability of spoons. And, like, I use that language because, like, as much as I know people use for, like, physical disabilities, I believe as someone with PTSD, I also have spoons. And some days, those spoons are basically me surviving. Like, this week, I had no spoons. Which is why I wasn't washing my face and shit. And as as much as it is good for me to wash my face, I did not have spoons available to wash my face. I had the spoons available to sit down and watch YouTube. I had the spoons available to watch a show I've watched so many times. Those are the mental spoons I've had. And that is really hard to explain to people. Like, spoons is one of those things where, like, if you're not disabled or have a mental illness, like, I don't think a lot of people really understand. It's one of those things, like, I feel people should be able to understand, because, like, my sister, my eldest sister, is the most atypical, like, most typical functioning adult. No mental health issues. Like, no anxiety, doesn't really get stressed that easily, is a normal, functioning, sound person. She does not get it when I have issues. Like, one of her things, like, her and her husband do this, they've done this for years, where they can stay up till about 10, 11, and get up the next morning at, like, say, 6. I can't do that. And they never understand that. And they're like, why can't you get up early? You're only up till midnight. And I have to tell them, well, number one, it takes me a couple hours to go to sleep. And number two, I am running on a lot of, basically, like, I don't really get the best sleep, normally. Like, not really. Especially before I was on medications. Like, I used to get the worst sleep. Because what I was doing is I wasn't going into deep sleep. I was light sleeping. Which doesn't really give you rest. So I'd be sleeping in, and they'd be like, why are you sleeping in? You've been sleeping all day. And I'm like, yeah, because I don't feel like I slept. They'd be like, yeah, you did. And I'm like, no. Or my favorite thing is, like, me and my best friend has the same thing, where basically it takes us hours to fall asleep. And I'm like, yep. Even with medications that are supposed to fucking knock me out, it takes 2 hours. It's a fucking trip. Like, I take medications to fall asleep. I take medications that are supposed to knock me out. Like, I don't take sleeping pills, but I take, like, the next step. Like, the step before you get put on sleeping pills. I'm on that level. And, yeah. It doesn't matter how long my day has been. It really doesn't. I will not go to sleep unless I take these meds. Or if I do, it will be at 3 in the morning, and I'll have to get up. It's not fun. It is generally not something I'd ever suggest for anyone. It's bullshit. But it's kind of a fact for me. Where I just have to tell people. They're like, yeah, no. I didn't sleep. That's a thing. Like, one of my big things is, like, I know when I'm mentally not doing the best is when I can't write. If you guys don't know, I write fan fictions. I've been writing fan fictions on and off for over a decade. I've been doing this a fucking while. And there's some that I've literally been writing for years now. And I know my mental health isn't doing well when I can't write. I know I have no mental spoons when I can't write. And I haven't been able to write for a while now. Like, I've had a bit of spurts recently. Like, literally last night. But, like, for the most part, I haven't been able to really write for a while. And that is usually a sign to me, and needs to be a sign that I really remind myself of, is that is when I know I need to take mental health time. That I need to relax. That I need to realize my mental health is saying, ah! And that I need to address it. One of those things, like, during COVID, I, like, missed one appointment with my therapist. And because I'm one of those people where like, when my therapist asks me certain things and I can say all the good stuff, like, I can say what I need to do. And basically, because I can say what I need to do, she's like, I have nothing left to teach you. And I'm like, I know you have, like, I know this stuff. But, I repeat, I need that. I find therapy more as a time to vent. Because there is not a lot of places in my life where I can just vent about my frustrations and have someone listen to me. And that's a very weird place to be in my life. But it's a place where I am. And it's one of those things where I basically, I'm like, yep, this is a thing. But yeah. Basically, I've been needing a place to vent. And I just haven't vented in a while. Now I'm just kind of venting and basically being like, like, I need to talk to someone about this shit. But a lot of my friends are mentally ill like me, and it's not fair for me to just basically word vomit my trauma onto them. Our time together should be fun. It's one of those things where I don't get it. My best friend, have been friends with her forever. When I was going through a lot of my worst shit, I just didn't talk to her. It was just a thing. Like, I think I basically told her about the situation, and that's about it. I was like, yep, this happened. And she's like, shit. And I was like, bye. And like, to be fair, she was also going through some shit at that time. I don't know what the fuck happened in those years, but they sucked. Like, one of our things now is, like, me and her, we're talking about it a while ago now, but we're at that point where we're starting to lead up to our 10-year anniversary for high school. And, she's like, yeah, I'm gonna go. And I'm like, I don't know if I really want to go. Like, I hated high school. And she's like, yeah, I hated it too. And I'm like, then why the fuck do you want to go? And she's like, just to flaunt. And I'm like, fair. Fair. Fair fucking enough. She wants to go be like, hey, remember all you guys said I could do shit for drawing? Well, look at me now, suckers! I'm a fucking tattoo artist. Now she's also a streamer. But like, yeah, it's one of those things where I'm just like, do I really want to go? Because I don't want people looking at me and being like, awkwardly be like, so, is it true about you and your dad? And then I'd have to go into that awkward conversation. I don't really know if I want to ever have that conversation with anyone I went to high school with. Because a lot of them, like, I went to elementary school with, and that'd be a fucking trip. Be like, hey, you were going through this shit when we were in elementary school, and I'd be like, yep. Yep. Yeah, that was my home life. Like, I already got one of those awkward apologies, which was from one of my teachers. This was back, like, my graduation dinner. One of my teachers, I had left my dad's house a few times because of his bullshit. And basically stayed with my mom. And this one teacher, at that time, came up to me at school and basically lectured me about why I should fucking go home. And, yeah. As you can see, that did not work. The only reason I did go home at the end of it was because, well, he held something over my head. And basically was like, hey, if you don't come home, you see these little sisters of yours that you practically look after almost all the time when you're home? Yeah, you won't ever see them again. And I was like, fuck. And I went home. And, like, it was fucked. And I still think it's fucked. And, like, this teacher, for all the years of high school, basically was like, I don't know what the fuck you're complaining about. I don't know what you're talking about. Your dad's fine, blah, blah, blah. Like, basically went on my case anytime I complained about my dad. And basically thought I was being, like, an angsty teen or listening to my mom's bullshit. And then at my graduation dinner, my dad spent the entire time ranting and raving loudly about how much of a failure my sister was at the time. And basically spending this whole time at a dinner that was supposed to be about my graduation from high school, ranting to my mother and my stepmother. And basically, like, my stepmother, who at that point was kind of swept up in his bullshit, was also at that point going, honey, please drop it. And he was not dropping it, and nothing would make this man drop it. And, like, that was my graduation dinner. And, like, literally, we're on our way to, like, our trip, our, like, grad kind of trip thing. We're going to, like, amusement park for the evening. And we're on our way there. And, this teacher pulls me aside and goes, yeah, I'm sorry. And I'm like, what? And she's like, I didn't know he was like that. And I'm like, yeah, because you only see him in church. And my dad plays the fucking good holy priest boy at church. I'm like, yeah, he's like this. Yeah. he knows how to act. But yeah, that's what my dad is really like. And yeah, there's a good fucking reason I don't like him. That was the only ever time I got an apology from my teachers. I think my math teacher was the most offended. Because this man, I loved him. Like, I'd go back to my high school just to see him. Like, this man was amazing. And basically, like, his biggest thing was, like, talking to, like, he was a little, he lived on his own, he paid off his house, paid off his student loans, had a master's degree in math, gave up full-size candy bars on Halloween, let the teenagers come up to trick-or-treat, and he used to tell us he was married to math and he was going to write a book one day of all the weird things he heard us say in class. And he had them all written down. And I remember him, and I loved him. Like, one day he swore in class, and then he gave us all the okay to swear once. Immediately, one guy yelled, "Fuck yeah!" And I, for as much swearing as I do, I didn't swear once in his class. It wasn't until he asked me, "I'm surprised you haven't used your swear word." And I said, "I was waiting for you to say that, because I'm going to say it right fucking now." He went, "You were literally waiting for me to ask you." And I'm like, "Yeah, goddamn right I was." I was waiting for you to ask me why I haven't swore so I could then swear. He's like, "You've waited an entire semester just to do that." I'm like, "Yep, entirely. Was just waiting for you to give me the cue." He's like, "What the fuck?" Well, he didn't say what the fuck. He was just like, "I don't know how ingenious that is." It's rather ingenious. I'm like, "Yep, you know." And like outside of classrooms, like this was basically the permission to swear in class. And like, I swore a lot in high school. Like my teachers used to go up to me and be like, "Stop swearing," and I'd be like, "Fuck you." I didn't care. I still don't fucking care. Like, what was it? Not that long ago, my best friend's mother commented that my friend was swearing more. And she's like, "Yeah, that's your friend's influence, isn't it?" And my best friend's like, "My mom thinks you're a bad influence." I'm like, to be fair, my parents thought you were a bad influence too, so let's just even up the sides at this point. But like, I swear so fucking much that like anyone who knows me outside of like, say, like professional things, no, I swear. Like that is a fact of me that people just know. Yeah, she swears a lot. Like, I think I've said every fucking swear word you can imagine in high school. I think the only one I didn't use was the C word. Obviously the N word. And just about every other swear word I fucking used. And like, not just like once. Like multiple times. I said the word fuck so many times. Like my band teacher at the end of it was just like, "Why are you like this?" And I'm like, "Number one, we're in redneck high school. I don't know what you're expecting. I understand your brother's a big country star. But I think you forgot where you came from. This is rednecks. We swear." I'm not kidding. Like my band teacher, well, my second band teacher after my first band teacher left and just didn't show up once. And then just stopped showing up and just never returned to work. But yeah, we had another band teacher, and his brother was not like super duper famous, but fairly famous country star. And like this guy used to go on his brother's tours as like doing like his electric setup and stuff. So yeah, that was a thing. Yeah, there's many weird things about my hometown. Like in my hometown, we had two fairly famous people that came from like my hometown. But they're like not like overly famous. Like it isn't like a Shakira or Shania Twain kind of thing. No, one of my he went to my high school a few times actually. His name was Chef Michael Smith. He was a famous chef. He had shows on the Food Network channel. Like this guy had a fucking mansion. Like he went to Japan for one of his shows. Like this man was famous. Not like the most famous, but definitely fucking famous. And like then there was the other one was Tim Chasen. He was a Canadian country star. Played at bands. I mean, there's other famous people that came from my island. Like, if you ever heard the "It's a good old hockey game, it's the best game you can play, and the best game you can play is the good old hockey game." Like, what they used to play on Hockey Night in Canada before, like, fucking they changed it. I remember they changed it like when I used to still watch Hockey Night in Canada. I haven't watched it in years, but I used to watch it like when I was younger. And like the time they took off the good old hockey game like part of it, and I was like, what the fuck? What the actual fuck? How dare you? How dare you take away the fucking hockey anthem? It's like a take me out to the ball game, take me out to the ball. Then go 1, 2, 3, strike you're out at the old ball game. It's like that level of iconic. His name was Stompin' Tom. Stompin' Tom. Fucking loved him. But like, there's other shit too. I don't know. My town was weird. Because we were definitely small town, redneck, that kind of deal. But we also had some fairly famous people. It's one of those weird things, but yeah. More weird shit about my small town growing up. Like, one of the things like I will always say is like, there were very few people that I remember off the top of my head that took down the lights from their house. Like, their Christmas lights? Yeah. I know a lot of people that keep their Christmas lights up all year round. Because that's a lot of work to take those down. Like, the only people I knew were, like, the people that were considered posh and had money. Those were the people that took shit down. Like, my houses, I don't think either of my parents ever took down Christmas lights. Like, I think they were put up once, and then were just left. And then they were replaced when they died. But for the most part, they stayed up, they just weren't plugged in. Because that takes some fucking time if you're going to put it up every year for like 2 months. Just fucking leave it. That's a lot of work to invest. You might as well just do it once and never do it again. Which sounds worse now that I'm older, because that sounds so much more redneck. Like, as I've grown older, I'm like, oh my god, this sounds so much worse. Like, it sounded bad when I was younger, but oh my god, over the years, it's like, that's really bad. I told that to one of my old coworkers, and she's like, that's some redneck. And I'm like, yep. Yeah, it is. But the same part of my brain, if I had a house, I'd be that fucker. I would set up my Christmas lights once. They're up once and they're done. They're staying like that forever. I ain't ever fucking taking them down again. That's so fucking redneck, and I hate it. As much as I've grown up over the years and I've told myself I am not a redneck, I are one. I are a redneck at heart. At the very least, some of the redneck teachings have not left yet. And they may not ever leave, to be quite honest. Because I don't know if you know this, rednecks have a certain way of doing everything. And that certain way doesn't really change. There's definitely some other things, like, oh my god. I'm trying to think. Like, what other weird shit from my life can I just rant about for a bit? Kind of guess on the lighter side. I got a good one. Uh, when I was in high school, back in the day, I had a really shit car. I had a car that was made a year before I was born. It was a 1995 Toyota Corolla. To this day, despite how rusty that car was, that thing was a beast. You could just rock her. Drive back and forth a few times, get yourself out of some foot, foot of snow. I did that a few times. There's one time I drove into snow and I was like, shit, I'm stuck. And I just rocked her and got out. Fucking old ass car. I had one of those tapes that turn into like an AC cord. So I'd stick in the tape, an AC cord would be hanging out, and you just plug in your phone and you could listen to your music. Also, I'm also one of those people that have named all of my cars. I'm not joking. I've literally named all of my cars. Like, my first car was named Ironhide. And the reason I named it Ironhide, number one, I'm a Transformers nerd. And I was really big into it when I got my first car. And also, this thing was a tank. Like, it was a hunk of gray. Just fucking beast of a car. And I basically was like, his name's Ironhead. He's the old maid veteran going, why are you wearing whippersnappers? Well, I'll let them cones at me. Like, that was him. If that was an inanimate car, it'd be that car. And then I got my other car, which was, oh, what did I have? I had another Corolla. It was like 2004. I named that one Sunstreaker because it had a nice color and it was nice and looking new because it was basically owned by an older couple that basically never ever fucking ran it. So I had like no fucking mileage on it. It was a fucking great ass car. And then I accidentally scratched the door once. And I had to get a door replacement. It was the ugliest thing ever. That was Sunstreaker. And then I had my last car, which was a Kia Sportage, I think. I can't remember the name of the car off the top of my head. But it was a nice little white like SUV car hybrid kind of thing, and it was like a hatchback, yeah. And I had that, and it was named Jazz. And like my mom's like gonna bring me a new car apparently, and I'm like, I don't know what kind of car I'm gonna get, but I need to think of a name. If you don't think this car is gonna be named after another Transformer, you don't know me that well. And this car's gonna be named after another Transformer. I've had Jazz, I've had Ironhead, I've had Sunstreaker. This one needs to have a good name too. And it'll all depend. Like, my mom's not entirely sure what car she's getting me. All I know is that she's getting me a car. And the entire reason she's getting me a car, by the way. The entire reason. There's no other reason my mom's head other than she is scared of me walking everywhere. She thinks I'm going to get shanked. Like, I am not fucking joking when I tell you this. That my mother, honest to goodness, believes that when I'm walking home at night, I'm gonna die. And then she also just hates me going on the buses. Like, anytime she hears anything, I'm like, she's like, oh, you're waiting for the bus? And I'm like, yeah, I'll be here in about 45 minutes. And she's like, what? Like, to my mother, that is like the most offensive thing, because I come from a redneck, like, small town vibe. And like, even back in like the city I used to live in, there was always a bus 15 minutes on the main roads, which get you most places. And you could do it in 15, you'd get a bus every 15 minutes, and that was glorious. Here, it's every 45 minutes. And the most inconvenient buses, they're very inaccurate. And my mom's like, you're just gonna get yourself a car? Like, I'm just gonna get you a car because I hate this. I don't like this for you. And then, like, every time I'm like, oh yeah, I'm bringing home groceries, and I'm like bringing home armfuls and like the most inconvenient ways, and she's like, yeah, no, hate this. I'm getting you a car. And like, as much as I like will love having a car, because I will agree with my mother. Yes, the buses are inconvenient. I also wouldn't invest in a car myself. Because cars are expensive. And I will be making good money soon. But I also have a lot of debts to pay off. And also having extra money is nice. But whatever, my mom's buying me the car. So I'll take a car. But yeah. That's another weird thing I've named all my cars. I will continue naming all my cars till the day I die. My old coworkers, like, she was, like, very young. She bought a car. Like, bought a car. And I don't mean, like, bought an old car that she bought off a guy off Kijiji. I mean, she went to a dealership and bought a car. And I have never once in my entire mind ever went, fuck. Because I don't know about you, but I know no one who has ever bought a car that wasn't secondhand. Like, my mother goes to dealerships, but my mother's a full-grown ass adult. She's like 50, 60. Like, most people I know around my age don't buy cars. They buy used cars that they bought from Jimbo down the road on Kijiji. The most expensive car I ever owned, I paid $4,000 for. That sounds really bad, and I know it does. But again, as I said earlier, redneck. Yeah. Oh my god. Oh my god. I originally was gonna make this Stargazer in Rodimus, and then I thought about it, and I'm like, I've drawn her with Rodimus a few times. I haven't drawn her with Optimus in a while, so yeah. Also, like, that's the first time I've actually mentioned what I'm drawing. We've been streaming for an hour and 40 minutes, and this is the first time I've mentioned what I'm actually fucking drawing. You can tell how angry I've been, and how much I just need to just word vomit what's been going on in my life. There's a lot of venting that need to be done there. Down there, oh god, what the fuck? Oh, Jesus Christ. Also, like, one thing, like, right now in Canada, like, a lot of the churches are getting, like, defamed, and, like, people are upset about that, and they're like, even the Prime Minister is like, there's no need for defaming churches. And I'm like, there's a fucking good reason to be defaming churches. Like, believe in whatever religion you want. But organized religion, especially old ones like the Roman Catholics, they have issues. And if you don't know that the Roman Catholic Church has issues, I have questions. If you have never heard the altar boy joke, there's a good fucking reason the altar boy joke exists. There's a fucking reason. And it's what we've currently learned lately in Canada as a collective about the shit that happened that was done partly due by the church. Yeah, I'd be in the same spot. I'd be in the same spot. Like, not at all fucking blaming anyone for fucking defaming the churches. Like, me and my best friend, to this day, I'm confirmed Roman Catholic. Like, I was affirmed in the church. I can go in, take my thing anytime I fucking want. I'm never going to. I haven't been to a church, basically, since I was 19. The only time I've ever been inside churches since has been for funerals. I've gone to a few funerals, and none of them have even been in a Roman Catholic church. They've been in Baptist churches. which to me always sounded cooler. Like, if you grow up Roman Catholic and then you enter, like, a Baptist church, you're like, shit, you guys are allowed to have fun? I am not joking you. I went to Bible camp once. I went to 2 different Bible camps. I went to one that was called Camp Sacagawea. I'm not fucking joking. Which now sounds so racist. I went there once. My best friend went every summer. She's native. I never got it. It is so racist. Like, I want to bring that up to her one day and be like, "You're at Camp Saggy?" "Yeah." "That was fucking racist as shit, wasn't it?" I just look at her and be like, "Yeah, that's fucking racist, wasn't it?" That was fucking racist as shit. How were they allowed to do that? I'm not fucking joking. This was a devoutly religious church, religious camp. It was called fucking Camp Sacagawea. That's so fucking racist. How the fuck did anyone get to name it that? Oh god. It's one of those things where I'm just like in disbelief of how fucking people can get away with this bullshit. Like, I'm not laughing. Ugh, it's hard to explain. It's so bad. Like, me and my best friend, we always joke about churches. She's like, "I'll go inside and I'll burst into flames." And I'm like, considering I'm one of those kids that tried to get out of church by pretending I was possessed by the devil. Hey, if you don't know what I mean, I hissed when they threw holy water on me on Easter Sunday. I got kicked out of church. That was the one day. Because if you know anything about Roman Easter Sunday in a Roman Catholic church, I wanted the fuck out. And the only way I could think to get the fuck out of church was to do the joke that I'd seen a comedian do, which was pretend to be possessed by the devil. And then you could get out of church. I did it. I fucking did it because I was like, "Get me out. Free me." I want to get out of this church so bad. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to try this once. And then I tried it. And then I got kicked out of church. And I was never so happy in my goddamn life. Because I got my ass kicked out of church. And I got to hang out in the parking lot in the graveyard. Like, there's shit that I used to do in, like, my church. Which, to this day, I think was me just trying to get myself kicked out of church. Like, I think for many years I was trying to get myself kicked out of church. Like, on Easter Sunday, me and my friends were kind of assholes. Like, not on Easter Sunday, I mean, catechism. Catechism. Every Sunday, when you go to catechism. If you don't know what the fuck catechism is, it's basically, second school. Except this time you learn about the Bible. And, we used to do this every Sunday. And by the time we were in, like, our last year, well, last couple of years of it, me and my friends, basically, like, me and the 5 other kids that were part of my church that basically did not want to be there. We used to do bullshit to get out. Like, we used to hide and seek away from our catechism teachers. We lost a ferret inside of our church. I am not joking. One of my friends brought in a ferret and then lost it. We lost a ferret inside the church and used that to get out of catechism. Like, I don't think me and like the kids I went to like catechism with, I don't think we, past the years where they made us watch VeggieTales, I don't think any of us stayed in the full catechism class once. Like, I don't think we ever sat down and actually did catechism once after that. Like, after they stopped playing the movies, which 98% of the time VeggieTales, we just stopped attending. Like, we just ran around the church for the good hour that we had to be there. And I'm not fucking joking. That's what we did. Because we didn't want to be in church. Who the fuck wanted to be in church? And I'm not joking. Still not as bad as, when you graduate high school, sometimes your church would, like, have you all in and do, like, this, celebrational thing. But you had to, like, stay standing for a while. And, This was at like the other church I wasn't a part of. This was the church in like town, and there was also like one of the guys in my grade. He like fainted. I think that's the OG way of getting out of church. Just fucking faint. Get your ass kicked out because you passed out. No, I'm not joking. Like, the day we found that out, like, no one laughed at him. All of us were like, shit, how the fuck did we not think of that? Especially, like, me and, like, my group of kids for catechism. And, like, there was always, like, there were the cool kids that got to go to, like, the other church groups. And then there's the ones that were stuck in, like, the Roman Catholic Church ones. And, like, there used to be a youth group that was in place of the church, and, like, they did cool shit. And I wanted to go there, but I wasn't allowed because it wasn't Roman Catholic. I was like, some of my other classmates are there. They used to do fun shit. Are you kidding me, Dad? I had to keep going to this boring catechism that I don't even most of the time attend. Like, I don't think I learned a single thing. Like, we had a nun come to us, like, later on in, like, one of my last years in, like, catechism. It was, like, during the time where they basically they got people's, like, wives that had converted to Catholicism because their husbands were Catholic, and you can't get married in the Catholic Church unless you're Catholic. So they married someone, and then they were like, well, I guess I had to switch religions now. And, we had, like, my stepmom, and then we had a few other ones that basically been married into the religion. And, then we had a nun. And, we all asked the nun the same things that you would think any young asshole kid would ask a nun. Like, I remember distinctly looking at this nun straight in her fucking eyes and going, so you guys want to have fun? God bless this woman. Like, this woman took that shit. She just went, yes, we're allowed to have fun. And I'm like, you guys have to wear, like, the robes all the time? Like, she wasn't even wearing the robes when she met us. And she's like, no, we do not have to wear the robes. And then one of my friends, I wanted to fucking high five her for that one. She said, so you guys are not allowed to bang, right? And she just went, no, we are not allowed to have sexual intercourse. And we're like, how far we could pull this? And me being the young gay I was, I said, are there any lesbian nuns? She looked at me and went, no. I was like, I don't know. That's why they used to send all the gays back in the day. Oh, me and my friends are assholes. Oh, we're such assholes. At the same time, I don't fucking blame any of us. Because that shit was boring. And I'm not at all surprised that we, like, tried to get ourselves kicked out of church. And, like, we all got confirmed. And I'm like, none of us, except for that one dude in the corner, actually gave a shit. Like, none of us gave a shit. None of us paid attention. None of us gave a shit about church. Heck, when I was a teenager, like, after I got confirmed in the church, I just stopped going, except for on holidays when my parents forced me. Like, when my dad and my stepmom forced me to go. And that, I didn't attend church. I basically pretended to be asleep long enough that they would leave without me. Like, my mother grew up Baptist. I don't think, besides, like, not even on holidays I could think of. Like, my mom didn't go to Sunday Mass. My mom also didn't go to, like, fucking, what was it? Yeah, my mom didn't go to Sunday Mass. None of my grandparents did. Like, my great-grandmother, maybe? Yeah, she used to do Mass. And that was, my grandparents, nope, they didn't do Mass. They're affiliated with churches, but they didn't go to them. So I was raised in, like, two complete opposite directions of views on religion. There was the overly strict, you have to go to church. And then the, eh. I mean, technically we're Baptist. Alright. And now for the not so fun part, doing my shading. If you don't know, I hate shading. So I do the most stupid shading ever. I do the most basic shading. I avoid it whenever possible. I basically turn down my opacity and basically do this as my shading. I'm not very classically trained with shading, nor do I really care. I mean, it took me years just to be able to force myself to actually color my drawings. Because much as, like, I do love art, I've slowly realized over the years, especially recently, that, like, doing commissions every once in a while is interesting. Like, that'd be cool. I've done, like, two. No, I've done three. Three commissions. And, like, they're fun. And I definitely want to give them a decent product. But, like, doing like what my best friend does, which basically, like, me and her can talk about it occasionally, and we do. Like, I'll show her stuff, I'm like, I like this art style, and she'll break it down. But, like, I'm very not creative when it comes to drawing. Like, I don't... Color theory. No. I don't give a shit about color theory. I don't like color theory. I never wanted to learn color theory. The only reason I started coloring my drawings is because I was like, well, they kind of look better. That's literally the only reason. I don't do coloring because, like, it's not a thing. I do the most basic coloring. I think the only time I really play with color is when I'm doing, like, just doing line art, but colored line art. I'm just not very creative when it comes to art. Like, the only reason, like, I got into art was because my best friend, well, when me and her met, I was more of, like, a writer, and she was more of an artist. And then we slowly rubbed off on each other. And I'm still very much more, like, a writer. She's turned into more of a writer. Like, she is definitely a writer as well. Like, I used to, back in the day, she used to be a fucking beta reader for one of my fan fictions. Like, one of my first ones. I'm not joking, my best friend used to be my beta reader. Best part was, like, for one of my most cringy ones. But yeah. What was the other thing that I was, like, thinking about? Yeah, like, when I did art, mostly what I did was I doodled. I like doodling. Doodling is fun. Like, when I do this stuff, like, such that it is considered art, like, this is about as far, like, unless I get really fast or really good or something. I don't know, probably won't. But, like, I don't have the motivation and drive to be like, I need to get better every time. I'm just like, this looks way better than what I used to draw. That's cool. I guess I do this a lot. Like, I would like to get a bit better at drawing, but, like, I also know, like, I have... After a while, it just doesn't... It's not fun anymore. And once art stops being fun, I don't want to do it anymore. And, like basically shading is, like, the limit of how far I'll go to be like, I don't like this, to do art. Like, this is the farthest as, like, I'll go to sacrificing my enjoyment for art. This is my limit. I will shade. And that is it. That is all I will do. That is as far as I'll go to suffer for art. It's why, like, I used to do webcomics. I just never found them fun. As much as I do like creating stories and writing, and I do have, like, some stories that I definitely would like to share with the world, webcomics was not the way for me. I hate it. I hated it. Every time I did it, it was pain. I didn't enjoy any part of it. And, like, it was feeling more and more like work that I wasn't getting paid or appreciated to do because my stuff was never popular because my art sucked. So it's just like, yeah, you know what? Like, as much as I'll say it, like, I got more feedback from my fan fiction than I ever got from my webcomics. So when I stopped doing webcomics, I was just like, you know what? Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough, me. That was not enjoyable. I was not getting any feedback. Like, I was not having fun doing the process, and I wasn't getting any sort of reaction out of it. Like, it'd be different, like, if my fan fictions ever, like, didn't get a lot of comments, which some of them don't. I don't really care because I have fun making them. And, like, it's something that, like, different from art, where, like, I know my best friend, she was always drawing, and, like, that's why a career in art-based things works for her. But for me, I was never like that. Like, it wasn't I did art for art, it was I was bored and I doodle. What I did, something where I'm just like, yeah, I'd do this anyways, is writing. Like, I will always be writing because I just, I'm always thinking of story ideas anyways. So at this point, I'm just like, well, it's either I do it in my head and forget about it, or might as well write them down. And then I do. And a lot of times I had to write it down because my brain would not shut up about it until I did. Like, a lot of the reason I became, like, prolific in any form doing fan fiction is because a lot of, like, my early, like, coping mechanisms for a lot of my PTSD was disassociation. And one of my biggest disassociation was basically IRL fan fiction. That's the best way I can put it, IRL fan fiction. Because I did that for so many years, and, like, I still, not as bad as I used to, but I still generally do that. But it's not IRL fan fiction now. Like, when I was like 10 and under, it was basically IRL fan fiction, but without me writing it. And then, as the years went on, it changed from IRL fan fiction to just fan fiction. Just turned into fan fiction over time. And now it's just like, I write fan fiction. And you know why I write fan fiction? Because it is fun for me. And it's something that generally I would be doing anyways. I will always be creating stories, so I may as well write them down. Like, I can go a while without drawing. Like, I can go weeks without drawing, really. And that's how I know, like, I'd never do art professionally. Because I can go a week without drawing. But yeah, that's a weird little thing. A little tangent. Like, if I ever did, like, have a job that I wanted to do that wasn't, like, well, currently I'm doing my whole manager thing, and I'll be doing that for a while until I really sort out my life and find out what I really want. Who knows, maybe this will be my thing. Kinda doubt it. Like, as much as I definitely can see myself doing this for, like, a few years, I know for a fact I'll get sick of it in a few years. Like, it's not something I like to do. Like, I can do it, and I'll do it well, and I'll work hard to do it, but it's not what I want to do. if that makes any sort of sense. Like, it's definitely not something I could see myself doing for the next, like, 10, 20 years. It's not something I could see myself retiring it as. But, like, it's definitely something I'm doing for now, and I'll keep doing for now. And that sounds weird. Like, I was originally planning to go to school for early childhood education, but now I got this promotion, and basically, I kind of want money now, and I was like, well, it'd be stupid of me not to take a promotion that is being offered to me. So I took the promotion. Very simple. That's like basically how my life is going. Basically, I'm like, at this point in my life, I'm like, I'll just go with the flow for now. I got a promotion, I'll take it. I'll take that promotion and I'll just enjoy my life. See where my life takes me. Like, I'm not gonna deny being offered a position. And that is just a fact. That is just a fact. I definitely know, like, someday I might figure out what that job is. Who knows? This might just be a thing. Maybe I'll do what my eldest sister did. Like, my sister used to be manager for, like... She didn't go to school until my nephew was, like, I think 8. Maybe 10. She went back to school, and now she has a career that she generally likes doing. But, like, maybe that'll be my thing. I'll just do managing for a while. Keep being a manager. And then maybe one day I'll think of something I would rather be doing. But yeah, this is kind of where I am. But yeah, like, currently I am doing a management position. And, yeah. Definitely not my life's work, but definitely my current work. And even if it's not my life's work, I will still work hard at it. Because, as I said earlier, I'm traumatically inclined to do my best at work even if I don't like it. I've been traumatically inclined to become a hard worker. I don't know if that makes it admirable or not. Like, my trauma demands that I become a good worker. So I'll be a good worker no matter what. Even if I don't particularly like the job, I will continue to do well at, try to do my best at it, because to do otherwise would be like committing a goddamn murder. It's a very weird way to view things, but yeah. And I know it's also very hard to get into things and like do things for, like, if I wanted to do anything, I'd love to like work and like become a writer for cartoon shows, but a lot of times for cartoon shows you're usually an artist, and then you're like a background artist, or you're a cartoonist, and that's kind of how you get into the field. But I just want to do the writing part. Like, I love to write comic books. Like, oh, I love to write comic books. But, like, that's not really a feasible thing for now, so, yeah, this is what I'm just doing. Sorry, all this must sound very weird to you guys. Probably doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I'm trying to make sense, but I understand that it doesn't entirely make sense. There. I'll do my signature up at the top. Do my signature, and then I'll be done with this stream. Woo. Zoom in a bit. No, my best friend, like, currently, like, one of her things, like, I love what she does. She's a tattoo artist, she's good at it, she takes pride in her work, and, like, she does it well, and that's, like, her thing. And, like, it's also in her field where she likes it, and I just don't think I've ever found that for myself. Mostly because I spent so much of my life, like, being told what to do, and basically spending a lot of my life doing what I thought others wanted me to do, but trying to do it in, like, a slightly own way. Like, I was basically told from when I was really young to go to university. So I went to university. And basically my parents wanted me, and everyone basically told me to become a teacher. So I went and took English and was going to become a teacher. But I was going to do it my own way, which was I wanted to become an English teacher in Japan. Because I'm a little weeb. And then I realized university isn't for me. I hated it. So I left. And then I went back again because I thought maybe I'll change into more psychology. Dropped it again. And now I'm like, I should do something with college. But I already am, like, severely in debt from doing university for so many years. And not wanting to do it. So yeah, it's not fun. Like, I have a degree. I don't even have a degree. Like, I am, like, I want to say 2.5 years into my degree, and I need a bunch more courses to graduate. But I never got a diploma. And, like, I probably never will. But, like, it's hard. It's hard to think of work. Yeah, so we're going to zoom out on this piece. Give you guys a few good old... Oh no. I have to fix that. Oh no, coloring errors. Yeah, I'll just do a quick top to down. Okay. Alright, there. Save. File save as. Finish stuff. TF. JPEG. There. So yeah, thank you guys for watching my stream. Hopefully you enjoyed whatever the fuck this was. Sorry for all my ranting bullshit at the beginning of the stream. I really need to rant. I was pissed. I'm still pissed. I'm still pissed about my asthma my inhaler being so much money. I'm still pissed about other shit that's going on in my life. I'm still not feeling 100%. But I've needed to get that off my back. Tomorrow I'll be streaming because I'm working Monday to Friday now for the next little bit. So I'm going to stream on Saturday, Sundays from now on. If I'm feeling up to it. If I'm not feeling up to it, don't expect to stream. But I'll try to do every Saturday, Sunday. And tomorrow I'm going to play some more Sam Max. Save the World. I'm going to play that. Also really bad for dropping games at the moment. I haven't had time to do shit. And I haven't had mental spoons to do shit. Which also includes shit I enjoy, which is sad. So, like, yeah, we're going to play some Sam Max Save the World tomorrow. Might do that a bit earlier. I don't know. I need to do laundry tomorrow. That's going to be a thing. But after the laundry, I'll definitely be doing this. So thank you guys so very much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you want to see more of my streams, subscribe to me here on Twitch. Also, these streams go up on my YouTube channel. Also under the name of Shiraper. And notice you share all across the web on a Tumblr, Instagram, Twitter. I also have a TikTok where I'm mostly singing post kitty videos. I also write fanfiction on fanfiction.net and AO3. Hopefully you guys enjoyed my stream. Hopefully you'll stay for more. I'm sorry for the topics. I'm sorry I had a rant at the beginning of the stream, but sometimes that happens. And I'm going to be trying to release, I need to do like thumbnails for backlogs of stuff because I haven't had the mental energy to do thumbnails either. So I'm going to do some thumbnails up for some videos. I have a few vlogs that are coming out. I'm going to try to do more vlogging. I like vlogging. Vlogging's good. I can talk to you guys a bit more, and I can do thumbnails. So I'm going to try to do that. I'll see. I don't know what time I'll have when I have the mental energy. My life is still in an adjustment period. I still need to work on my mental health, but hopefully you guys enjoyed. And, yeah, I'll see you next time and all that good shit. Love you guys, and see you in my next dream. Bye. Kitty is lying with me. Her feet on my belly, her belly stretched out in her floof, 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 and her sleepy little face. I have a kitty napping with me.